where are you from?
So I originally was born in Yakima, Washington, which is about 2 hours from Seattle. And then I moved over to Seattle on my 13th birthday with my mom. She got a new job. And I've been in Kirkland ever since, pretty much. I really love Kirkland. So I was 13, I'm 33 now. So for 20 years, I've been in the Seattle area, but born and raised in Yakima. It's like desert, so I miss the heat. It doesn't rain a lot. Of course, it rains like a ton in Seattle. So, but that's where I'm at right now, and who knows where we'll be in the future, but Seattle, it's great. I listened to Q primarily, Kiss also, when I was growing up in my teenage years. And then I remember Jubal being on with Jackie and Bender. And then I do remember him moving over to Move In and getting his show there with Brooke. And then I did listen for like a couple of years, but then I stopped listening. And then I would say about 5 years later was when I met Jubal, and it was online. And I didn't listen to him at the time, but I remember listening to the show back in the day, and like I remember all the bits that he did and things like that.
What were your thoughts of him as an overall radio talent?
When he was on Jackie and Bender, I don't really remember too much, but when he was at Move In, of course, I thought that he was incredibly talented, and I just thought that he was way different with how he did the radio bits and how he just did top 40 radio in general. It was just different than any other station that I had heard before that. But his talent level, it's just different than any other host that I've heard before. And I think that, especially in Seattle, he's really well known in Seattle, but it's like he's just pure talented, and that's what I remember is from listening back in the day.
Did you ever have any desire to be in media when you were growing up?
Nope. So from when I was a child, I was really shy, really introvert. I still am. And I started at T-Mobile in 2011 as a B2B rep. So I met with companies around Seattle to try and get their corporate cell phone account to move over to T-Mobile. So I did that for about 8 years, and that really changed my personality as far as like being able to actually have a conversation with someone without like just completely feeling like it was super awkward or I don't know what to say, like just really shy, and just didn't believe in myself, just for a number of reasons. But I was really hard on myself. And when I was at T-Mobile, I had to do things that got me out of my comfort zone, like so much. I would have to public speak and speak in front of all these C-level people, these companies, to try and get them to switch. And it helped me tremendously, because when I met Jubal in 2017, even when I met him in 2017, I never in a million years thought I would ever be doing this. I was still super shy, introvert. When I met him, I had never done a video of myself, even on my personal Instagram page, ever. Like just still shots, that's it. I just never liked being in front of the camera. I never liked attention on me. I never liked being in the spotlight. I would just rather be behind the camera or still shots. Like I was just always too nervous to be just doing videos of myself. I never felt comfortable putting them online. And then I remember the first time we did a live together, like how nervous I was and how uncomfortable it was. And then we started, like he's always wanted to do a podcast. So 2018 he started a podcast, and then he wanted me to help him or do it with him. And it was just way outside of my comfort zone. Something honestly that I never thought I would do. You tell me 5 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would say you're out of your mind. There's no way. But he helped me tremendously with believing in myself. And I always thought that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. So I just never said anything really. So I learned a lot from podcasting with him. even doing the podcast with him for the last year and a half or so, I still never during that time thought I would ever be on the radio. It was never something I ever wanted to do as far as like pursuing for a career. Um, and I'm doing it because Jubal believes that we can have a very successful show together and thinks that I'm talented. He believes in me, and I'm believing in myself now. It's taken time, but I'm doing this because I believe in it too, and I do think I'm talented, which is hard to say, and I do work outside of my comfort zone all the time. So that's kind of where I'm at now with the show. And part of me does feel bad because like my excitement level, I am excited to start the show for sure. I'm excited to launch this and to see how successful my husband's going to be with this, and super proud of him. But I just know how many people would love to have this position and be a co-host. And for me, I feel bad because it's not like I never thought that I would ever do it. And then it was just kind of given to me, even though I work really hard and I'm talented and entertaining. That's kind of my feeling on that.
What did Jubal say to you to get you to even do that first live?
It was in the evening time, and he just wanted to go on and like answer some questions for his fans and wanted me to be in it. So I just remember like, I mean, I had watched him do lives before that I wasn't in, but I remember like wanting to, but I was super nervous. So once we finally were live, I like my heart was just racing, like I was shaking, like my introvertness and my like just uncomfortableness of just being in front of people listening to me speak was on a scale of 1 to 10 beyond 10. So it's still really hard for me to even get in front of like a live group because I just get nervous. But so podcasting helped a ton. So, we were able to edit if we need to, even though we did the podcast like for a long time without even editing it. So that helped me learn how to just flow and, talk about things. Because if I didn't podcast, I don't think I would ever say yes to the radio.
Okay, because you guys are so close, right? What is it that you guys are going to do to help the new members of your team? Because you guys really have a great flow on the podcast, but now that you guys have new people that you've hired, what are you going to do to help them feel comfortable and integrate them in, since you guys work so well together when it's just the two of you?
Yeah. Well, that's super important because whoever we work with, we want to be close with. And I know that in certain environments, it's easy to, especially those environments that can be hostile or people don't get along and there's drama and stuff. But me and Jubal are really drama free. We don't like confrontation. We're pretty chill. We don't, are expect like just work hard, do your job, and go home and like, spend time with your family. Like we're high strung, and we want to get along with everybody and have fun. So the people who are going to be joining our team, it was very important for us to find team members that we vibe with really well. So when we were interviewing people, we met these two individuals who it was just really easy to have a conversation with, and they're really easy to go along with, and our personalities all get along, and we hung out with them several times. We recorded together multiple times, and it seemed really easy to say yes to them because all four of us just really got along. And I personally want everybody to be able to feel like they can say anything that they want, be able to come forward with any issues they may have, and know that they're going to have like a healthy environment to be in.
What's the biggest challenge that you feel like you're going to encounter as the co-host of such a high-profile morning show?
I think the thing that's going to be hardest for me is my introvertness. So, I mean, you've watched the podcast. You like the podcast. I like the podcast. It does well. But just as far as still being able to feel really comfortable in situations, and not, I don't know, like my shyness and I get really nervous. So that's probably going to be the thing that is hardest for me, depending on the situation. At the studio, I'll be fine, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities that come up that's going to make me very nervous. And that's probably going to be what's the hardest for me.
Now, will you and Jubal still do the podcast?
Yes. So currently we have 3 podcasts that we do together. It's been on hold for a few weeks because of the radio show launching, but we have Monday, we have our Fresh Till Death on Monday. Me and him do that together. We have one on Tuesday, which is the podcast. It's just him and I for that one as well. And then Wednesday is the Jubal show. That's with me and Jubal, and then 2 of our friends, Manny and John. We're most likely going to keep the Jubal show podcast and Fresh Till Death, so the Monday and Wednesday one, and drop the Tuesday one. Those will be on iTunes and YouTube, all the major platforms. iHeart will have it on their app, and we'll put where everybody can find our podcast as well. It'll be things about like not safe for work, things that we can't talk about on the radio, or some of our opinions and views, and kind of like the same stuff that we do already on our podcast. But yes, definitely still doing that. We'll continue that starting in about a month. We just got to get this show rolling and off to a good start.
So what do your kids think about your new gig?
Well, I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 8-year-old son, and they think it's really cool. My 8-year-old son loves Jubal. Of course, he met him when he was 4, and he just thinks he's the coolest person ever. He's been to the studio, and he just wants to get on and start editing and like recording, and it's really fun to see him like have fun there. But he thinks it's super cool. And obviously when we would listen to the radio in the car, my son thought it was really cool to hear him on the radio. But yeah, my 14-year-old, she's a teenager, you know. I'm sure she thinks it's cool, but I don't know.
Now, are there any other radio personalities that you respect or admire?
So I'm going to be completely honest and tell you that I really don't know, aside from people in Seattle and like Ryan Seacrest, radio personalities, because it's just never a career that I ever, aspired to do. But beside like not knowing anybody in radio, I just don't really know a lot of like actors and actresses and things like that, because I don't watch a lot of TV and movies and stuff like that. Like I just have other hobbies that I would rather do. So it's funny because like Jubal and my team will say blah, 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 like say a name all the time. I'm like, I don't know who that is. Like I literally all the time, I don't know who that is. Like I know like the top elite celebs. Beyond that, I don't know who anybody is. I have a lot of other things I can talk about that's very interesting, and yeah, I'm okay with that. I really like to play video games. I love playing sports. My favorite sport is basketball. I like to ride bikes, like to travel and spend time with my kids. It's kind of bizarre how much I like playing video games. That's like my number one hobby. But I've been playing since I was a kid, and I remember playing Halo was my favorite game since like 16. I started playing when I was 16, so I still play like every day. So yeah, it is kind of weird to me to think that like I'm a female, I'm a mom, and I want to play video games. I want to play basketball, you know. I don't know, but it's fun. And I smoke weed, which also a lot of people, either if they're a mom, they don't admit to or talk about or want people to know about, which I didn't for a long time, and one day I just got sick of having to like hide it from people and feeling ashamed for it. So I started talking about it, and now I'm a cannabis activist, and it's legal in my state, which I know it's not legal in every state. So I can't say that for everybody. If I was in a state where it wasn't legal, I probably wouldn't be an activist in that state. You know what I mean? But I'm hoping that one day soon it's going to be federally legal and that we can end the stigma.
Have you felt any judgment from any of the mothers?
Absolutely.
Really?
Moms like to judge for that for some reason, but they're okay with drinking wine every night, or a bottle of wine every night, which, to me, smoking weed, if you have an emergency with your kid or for something, you can help them. If you're drunk, that might not be the case. So that's what I have a hard time with, is moms who judge, who will drink every night, but say smoking weed is not okay. So I've gotten like a lot of messages from moms as well saying thank you for speaking about this because I'm a closet smoker and I can't talk about it yet, but I admire you being able to talk about it and doing it on your platform, and I hope one day I can too. But so yeah, lots of moms messaging me about that. So that makes me feel good.
Is August 20th the actual start date of the show?
Yep, August 20th, we will be launching the show 6 a.m. And I'm super excited for the launch. The intro is amazing. We're going to be announcing, obviously, everybody who's on the show, but it's going to be everything that Jubal fans are used to, all the bits that he's known for, like the prank calls, the date updates, things like that. It's going to be very similar to the other show.
Will you do the show in the studio, or will you be at home?
We will be in the studio. So the only people that are at the office is the on-air talents at the moment. So just a few people, but we'll be in studio.
What's the thought process behind how you guys connect with your listeners with social media?
Sure. Yep, we're going to be very active on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and me, Jubal, the Jubal Show, 106.1, and our co-host as well. We're all going to be interacting with the listeners and the fans and responding to everybody and things like that.
Earlier, you said that, as far as you getting this opportunity and, recognizing that other people would love to have your job, what is it that you want people to know about you who may just kind of perceive you as someone who's just Jubal's wife initially?
It's going to be hard to overcome that, but like that view of me. But I am very intelligent, which people don't maybe think I am, or just because I am his wife. But I am, I'm smart. I can carry my own. I have a good business sense. Even though I am introvert, I am very respectful. I don't judge people. I don't care what people are doing. All I care about is that people are nice to people. They're not bullying people. They're respecting people. Other than that, I just want people to be happy. On social media, what I can't stand is when people comment hate on our pages for no reason, because we don't comment hate towards anybody. And we're always like, even though we're sarcastic in our humor and our comedy, especially Jubal, like at the end of the day, we're compassionate, caring, loving people who only want people to be happy. At the beginning, when Jubal and I were talking about doing the show together, and iHeart was kind of, on the fence as far as it, because we're husband and wife, because that can come with a lot of issues, and I understand that, and of course I don't want that. I just want Jubal to have a successful show and let him pick his crew, and he really wanted me to be with him. But I remember one phone call in particular, Jubal was talking to someone from iHeart, someone who was pretty high up, talking about the dynamic of us being married and having a show together. Is he was on speaker and he didn't know that I was listening, and he said that he would give me my own show in 2 seconds, which was really, like, it kind of blew my mind to hear that, because like from most of my life I didn't believe in myself, and that's because of things like from my childhood. So when he said that, I was like really kind of confused too. I'm like, me, like, wow. So even when people give me compliments and I hear that, I'm like, they're just being nice. But it's taken a lot of time and like, counseling and like healing to realize that I am worth it. I am worthy. I am good. Like, I do deserve this, even though it's something that I've never pursued, because I work really hard and I just want the product to be really good.